Good morning, Dave here with Organic Gardening in North Carolina. It is August the 31st, so I'm running out of time to do my August garden tour. Alright, let me turn the camera around, show you some things that are going on. Okay, this is my youngest fig tree. Did this from a cutting last year, and it's grown about 3 feet tall this year. So I'm happy about that. Hopefully we'll have a mild winter and it'll probably produce next year. This is some parsley that I left go to seed. So it's got tons of seeds on it. I already pulled some off and planted them over here. Let's see, here's where I had my tomatoes. It's overgrown with grass. That grass is the worst thing in my garden for the weeds. There's daikon radishes. There's a close-up of one. Mosquitoes out here too. Let's see, there's popcorn. There's a sunflower that fell over. It's still putting out some flowers on it. Here's a little moringa tree, about 3 feet tall. I trimmed back my lavender and it's starting to sprout out again. Has a nice smell. Let's see, this is Egyptian spinach. I forgot what I had planted here until I saw these come up. So I guess it's ground cherries. I had really forgotten that I had planted these. See, here's a pepper plant. It's putting out some peppers. My goji berry tree has not been doing well at all. I really don't think it likes this area. I've only got a couple tiny little red berries off of it this year. And those things are supposed to be easy to grow. I don't know why I'm having such a problem with that. Let's see, while I'm here, I'll show you this. This is loofah sponge, ridged gourd, Chinese okra. This vine, see, is taking over, it's going out into the yard. It's taken over that whole trellis where I had some cucumbers and green beans earlier. It's going up my trees over there, up my trees over there. It's going all over the place. And it's really starting to put out a whole bunch of these little tiny loofah sponges or ridged gourd, Chinese okra, all those names. It's got more names than that actually. Let's see, I'll show you. I've actually harvested some big ones and eaten them already. Let's see, I thought there was one in here. Where'd it go? Well, I thought there was like a, oh yeah, there it is. See, there's one that would be good for eating. Over here, some that I left. And that baby's about 2 foot long. And I looked up loofah sponge, and the ones that I see might be a different variety because they're more round. So when they peel them off, there's a nice round sponge. Seems like these are going to have like a ridged shape in them. So I'm thinking this is a different variety. Someone just gave me these seeds. I didn't know what to expect. So if anyone knows more about them, let me know in the comments. There are tons of blooms and tons of little ones coming up all over the place. See, there's a nice little one. That would be a perfect size to take and eat too. Just slice them up and stir fry them. All right, Here is a little turmeric that I planted out sort of late. There's a bigger turmeric. We'll see if it has enough time to produce any tubers. Here is the moringa tree that I planted this spring. Look at that thing. I just put my tape measure on it. It's over 10 feet tall. It was like 10.5 feet. I think even last month it was like 6 feet tall or something. So it's really, really grown. And then I come out here and I munch the leaves every morning. And I also put some in a mint tea that I make. Here is ginger. That's done really well. It's really sprouted out. It's about 3 feet tall. Here's my last watermelon. Let's see if I can uncover that. I need to take that in the house, put it in the fridge, and I'm sure it's, ooh, look at that, it's starting to rot. I left it too long. I'll have to take it in quick and see if we can get anything out of that still. Here's another moringa tree. This one's about 3 feet tall. Let's see, I also planted some borage here in the middle of the weeds here. It's called the bee plant. It has a nice, pretty blue flower. Still getting some cherry tomatoes. That one was really good. I'm gonna have to take some seeds off of this plant. Those are good. Alright, here we go. Here's my sorrel, which I used to have a big plot here. I dug some out and gave it to friends. And then some of it died in the heat of the summer. Oh, there's some more ridge gourd over here too. I usually say ridge gourd because my wife doesn't really like okra. So I try not to mention that. Still getting some strawberries from the ever-bearing strawberries. But they're not that great. I might get some June-bearing strawberries because I think they bear better. There is bunny poop. Been having a hard time getting seedlings going because of bunnies or a bunny in the garden. And my dog just caught one last night and ate it. So maybe that will be the end of my problems sprouting things. Look at this. Malabar spinach. This is growing on a little trellis that I put up here in the corner. I like to come out and just munch on a couple leaves of that every morning too. I also like to eat the seed pods, or eat these seeds. One of my grandkids asked me if I was wearing lipstick the other day after I was eating some of these. Here is a real okra plant. Has some Malabar spinach going up it. And this okra is too old. So I'll tear that off and compost it. Right there. But this is how I like to eat the okra, when it's nice and small. That is good. I had green beans here. These are rattlesnake green beans. Looks like I let them go to seed. So I have to harvest those seeds when it dries out. I'm gonna go ahead and put some sugar peas, snow peas in here right now actually. Because we're expecting to get some of the rain from Hurricane Harvey here. Within the next couple days, we're supposed to get a couple days of rain. So I'd like to get those seeds in the ground if I can. Guess what this is? More ridge gourd, Chinese okra. all over the place. My tomatoes died in here. I didn't have any wood chips on here, so I didn't think about watering it as much, I'm afraid. So my tomatoes didn't do very well. I do still have an ox heart that's putting out some tomatoes, but my other tomatoes died. See, I've got some peppers in here too. These peppers actually grew like 5 feet tall in this trellis because they probably didn't get a whole lot of sun here. Look at this pepper. It grew the whole way up this trellis, and it's really just starting to put out some blooms now. So I'm probably gonna get some peppers off of that. Here's my butterfly garden. It had lots of flowers. They got really tall and bent over and broke, so I chopped most of it down, but there's still some zinnias and stuff sprouting out, so I left it. Okay. Oh, here's another moringa tree. This one's getting like 3 or 4 feet tall now already. It also has some Malabar spinach climbing up it. I pulled my asparagus spears and threw them on the ground, so I'm getting a fall crop of asparagus. See the now my mind went blank, but the Back to Eden guy said that you can do that for your fall crops. Fall asparagus, you just pull the tops off, and then you can get another crop of asparagus. Which I never realized. I thought after the springtime you just let it go to put more energy into next year. That was really good. Nice and tender. Excuse me while I have some breakfast. I had lots of cucumbers this summer, but looks like I'm getting a volunteer cucumber here. So it looks like I'm going to have some fall cucumbers too. I saw somewhere that you can spray skim milk on the leaves to prevent blight, which looks like I need to do that. Let's see, here's some tomatoes here too. Well, since I'm over in this part of the garden, I'll show you my oldest and largest fig tree. This thing actually died down to the ground and sprouted out a bunch of sprouts from the ground this year. And guess what? It's starting to get some figs on it. Sort of late in the year for it. See, there's a fig. There's a tiny little one there. It's actually got figs all over the place on the various branches. That might have been about the biggest though. And it put out figs last year too, late in the season, and they didn't have enough time to develop. So I'm hoping it might have time this year. See, there's little figs coming out all over the place there. There's some there, one there, one there. Probably little ones starting there too. I did have one tree this year where I got 2 figs from it. That was the tree that made it through the winter better than the other ones last year. This stevia grew up from the plant where I had it last year. I didn't even plant it here, but it's doing great. I actually put this in with my smoothies or the tea that I make with the peppermint tea and moringa. I put stevia in, then I put some honey in too. It actually gets a little too sweet by the time I do all that. I make a concentrate and then I water it down to drink it during the day. This is a tree that I thought it was a pecan tree because I planted some pecans in here, but I don't recall planting one here right by my worm pit. And this thing has grown like almost 3 feet. And the row that I planted the pecan trees in Had 2 of them growing here, and they haven't really grown that much. So I have these 2 that I'm sure are pecans, because that's where I planted the seeds. I have that one over there, which might be a weed. And there's one on the other side of the garden here, which is the same thing, which is a weed, and I don't recall putting a seed for a pecan over there either. So anyways, I'm not quite sure what that is. This is Indian corn, or marbled corn, I guess, from M.I. Gardener. That stalk there looks like it's about, that's probably 9 or 10 feet tall also. I haven't pulled them apart to look at them. Usually you let these things dry, so it's just like an ornamental, although you can eat it, I suppose. See, I have some kale starting up over here. And I have a little row of kale here in the weeds too. Have to put some more wood chips down. These are my Jerusalem artichokes, which they're probably 10 or 12 feet tall. They were falling down all over the garden, so I got a string and put some posts in the corners here and tied them up so they look a lot better. They're probably going to start blooming here soon. Here's an apple tree I planted from seed. That thing's probably 2.5, almost 3 feet tall. There's another one I planted from seed. There's a pepper plant. These are sort of mildly hot. I forget what brand they are, or what, yeah, species. Let's see. Here's some kale that I planted longer ago than the rest. And I think I had a whole row here, but I think that rabbit took care of a lot of the row. Look at these marigolds. They went up my tomato trellis. So that's the top. They're like 5 feet tall up there. What else? Okay. I had some tomatoes that I threw in the ground over here and put them up, tied them up this fence a little bit amidst the Malabar spinach. This is Malabar spinach. That I didn't plant any Malabar spinach this year. It all came up volunteer. I sort of have a compost pile here, and that goes right down into the roots of that Malabar spinach, so it grows like crazy. I threw some radish seeds down in there, mostly just to poke down into the soil. Let's see, I planted some kale up here in the wood chips, but it doesn't seem like it sprouted very well. That looks like a cucumber or squash or something. Okay, I think we're about at the end of our journey here. Yep, I've been throwing some lawn clippings in here to compost. Here's some of my mint. That's peppermint that I make tea out of. It's really, really good. And I also had some beans on here. Had some runner beans as well as the rattlesnake beans. I have to harvest those runner beans, especially because I only really got a few of those, so I need to harvest those seeds. Okay, I'm ready to get my fall garden in, especially with the rain coming the next few days. I'd really like to get it done, but I don't know that I will because I'm busy. Alright, well, thanks for watching. I'll probably publish this as an unedited video because I didn't really make too many flub ups, I suppose. Anyways, tell me what you liked about my garden. Remember to comment, subscribe if you want to get my videos right away. Click on the bell if you want to get notified of every video. Otherwise, you don't get notified of everything. Alright, thanks for watching and have a blessed day.